YouTube? This is Shon, the Divine Diva, coming at you with a quick NACA video. For those of you who don't know, this is my NACA reboot journey, meaning I first heard about NACA in December of 2018, started my journey in February 2019, and started to get some things in order. Life happened, and I took a pause. So I recently returned to the NACA process and am currently waiting to be qualified, meaning I've already gone through a few appointments with my counselor and my file has been submitted and is pending for qualification. So I was thinking, while I'm in the waiting game, what would I share with somebody else who's just starting this process, and what are some ways to get a little bit of a head start at the beginning of the process. So I came up with a few notes, 7 ways to get a head start on your NACA journey. 7. So, number 1, the first tip is to have a storage device for all the documents you will be submitting to NACA. Now, for some people, that might be a flash drive or a USB drive, something that looks like this, right? Something portable. Or, if you prefer the cloud, I would definitely suggest putting your information in the cloud in a file. Organize those cloud files just like you would on your computer so that you could easily identify the documents you need in a quick pinch, right? So I use Google Drive, and I like to use that because if I'm on the go and I feel that I need to look at a document, email it, or double check something, I can pull it directly up on my phone through the drive. So that's tip number 1, storage device and or cloud, okay? You just never know when your counselor may call and need you to resend something. Trust me, this happens. So tip number 2, simplify your bank accounts. Oh, I know. You have an account at bank number 1, you have 2 at bank number 2, you have an account from when you were in the 3rd grade. Simplify your accounts. This is going to make your life so much easier as you're going through this process. Now, I will say I simplified my accounts in that I reduced it to checking and savings accounts, and I have one account specifically for saving extra funds for this NACA process, and I'll explain a little bit more. But the other part of this is NACA is going to be looking at your statements, and you want to make this, a little more easier on yourself. You'll be providing these statements on a regular basis every 30 days, and so if you simplify your accounts, you don't have as many statements to submit. All right, so that's tip number 2, simplify the accounts. Number 3 actually ties into tip number 2, which is start establishing a savings pattern now if you haven't done so already. And this is what I mean. When you start establishing your savings pattern in advance, you'll have an opportunity to reduce your time for qualification. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. If you're seeking a mortgage through NACA, you may have an idea in your mind how much you want that mortgage to be. So let's say you're currently paying $1,200 a month for rent, but you say, you know what, I can afford a mortgage of $1,500. And so NACA is going to be looking at whether or not you truly can pay that $1,500. So they would expect to see a savings. So if your rent is $1,200, the difference between your $1,200 and the $1,500 mortgage that you desire is $300. So NACA would assign you what they call a savings shock, right? And so your savings shock is the difference between your rent and what you would like your mortgage to be. In this instance, that difference is $300. NACA would expect to see a $300 savings each month in your account to show that you would actually be able to afford your mortgage. And I've also read some information about surplus. So that's a different matter. But what I will say is NACA is looking for an established savings pattern. Okay, and if you're trying to get a higher mortgage than your rent, they will definitely want payment shock savings, which is also referred to as PSS or just payment shock. Okay, so here's how it reduces your qualifying time. If your appointment is 2 months out, and let's say you're already saving $300+ each month, by the time you get to your appointment, let's just say everything else looks lovely. That would be one less thing for you to worry about when your counselor can see you have saved at least your payment shock amount over a period of months. Okay, so establish that pattern. I know I keep, going on about this, but it is so helpful. The other reason it's helpful to show your savings pattern is even when you get to do your budget, I find that when you've simplified your accounts, and let's say you decide to send that payment shock to a separate account altogether, that's something that I chose to do. I have it payroll deducted, so I don't have to think about, am I saving enough? I've already designated the amount to go directly to that savings account for payment shock. I keep my payment shock savings separate from my regular savings account so that I don't have to think about it. And I have to say that one of the things that my counselor mentioned was like, oh, I can absolutely see your savings right away. And so, there was no, did I make a transfer from checking? Did I move money around? At the end of the day, they were clearly able to see that. So that's something to consider. People have different circumstances. So number 3, I'm still on 3, but I would also want to point out that with your budget and your spending within the account itself, you will have to record this on your budget at some point. And so it's just easier to simplify sooner rather than later, because NACA will be looking at your spending habits as well. So go ahead and curb your enthusiasm now. I'm just saying, go ahead and curb your enthusiasm on the spending now. So even though NACA is a character-based type of lender, or rather not a lender, but they're a character-based program, your credit score does not factor into this process, they still will be looking at your spending behaviors. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, number 4, stop using Cash App and stop using Venmo if these funds are coming directly out of your accounts. The accounts that you provide NACA do not need to be showing Venmo and Cash App transactions on a regular basis. Really, preferably not at all, because you will have to write what they call an LOE, or a letter of explanation, for each transaction. Yeah. And so if you Cash App everything all the time, NACA is, trying to figure out, where is this money going? Why aren't you using your bank account? Something to think about. So chill on the Cash App and the Venmo. Now, I used to use Cash App a bit, but I kind of got a heads up like, oh, I don't want to have to write all these letters. I started using Zelle out of my bank account. So I have people getting money directly from my bank account. I'm able to send it right through Zelle. So something to consider. Number 5, take advantage of the official NACA Facebook group, and there's also an unofficial group. And I think if you just look at other resources outside of, reading your workbook, sometimes you just want to gain clarity. It can be very helpful to go online and be able to talk with NACA employees and even participants as well, to see what their experience has been, to be able to get some insight and feedback on your area. You find people who may be in the program that, can provide some helpful tips. So don't sleep on resources out to supplement your workbook. And just know the difference between what's official NACA information and what's anecdotal, and you'll be fine. And who knows, you might meet some cool NACA cousins along the way. Okay? So, also, number 6. Start uploading docs ahead of your appointment. I don't mean the day of or the day before, but I mean in advance of your appointment as you're getting them together and sorting them. Go ahead and start uploading this information into your web file. Okay? This is going to help you a few different ways. You won't be as overwhelmed, right? But also what I have found, I've observed, and I've had some conversations that some counselors are reviewing your files ahead of your appointment as well. And so you want them to see some movement. You don't want to take the risk that your appointment be canceled or rescheduled because the counselor sees that they're not going to make any progress during your appointment. Okay, and I'm referring to people who have a NACA ID, who are attending their appointment and who are supposed to have documents uploaded. Do not wait until the last minute. Okay, that is not official NACA policy or anything. Again, that is observation, conversation, things of that nature. Nobody likes to, they don't want to wait until you get to the appointment and you start uploading documents. It's one thing to have one or two missing or have some clarification needed, but you do not want to wait until the day of and try to upload a book of documents. Not going to work. Okay? So, number 7. Already, number 7. Use Internet Explorer when you are uploading documents to your web file. Now, again, people have expressed different technical challenges. You know, there have been upgrades recently. However, prior to those upgrades, I noticed that people were experiencing issues when they used a different browser. And I personally had used Chrome and had uploaded all these documents before my appointment. And I was really in my feelings with my counselor when he kept telling me he wasn't seeing my documents. And I got frustrated. I'm not going to lie. I was getting a little hot because he was, saying he didn't see them, as if I hadn't uploaded them, and I knew I had. So what I did is I re-uploaded those using Internet Explorer. And this is the other reason why it's so helpful to have your information on a storage device or drive. I was able to pull it out of Google Drive even during the appointment, which was remote. And we were on computer. I was able to literally upload those documents. But save yourself some energy, some frustration, and some aggravation by using Internet Explorer. Okay? And you can reaffirm that information with your counselor. I do not work for NACA. Okay? And then I would say, just as a bonus, I'm just going to tell you in advance, this program is designed for low to moderate income individuals. It does not exclude high income individuals. But just keep that in mind as you're going through this program. Manage your expectations no matter what category, priority, or what they call non-priority. Manage your expectations while going through this program, and just understand there are a lot of people who want to help you through this process, both within the NACA organization and outside. So, find that support, find those cheerleaders, focus on the positive, and keep your emotions in check. That was a bonus, okay? So I did keep my word. I gave you at least seven ways to get that head start, okay? So, have a wonderful day, and I wish you all the best on your journey and qualifications. If you have any other questions or comments regarding this process, I don't know it all. I just read and research. But I just felt like making a quick video while I'm waiting for qualification. So, have a wonderful day. Take care. Thank you for watching. Bye.